the biggest thing would be invest in truly finding yourself and truly getting to know who you are and not what other people expect you to be or what other people want you to be.
Hello, guys. Thank you for tuning in to the More Than the Numbers podcast. This is a show where we'll dive into the stories of people overcoming financial insecurity, showing the different paths that people take to become wealthy, and overall just how to live a more purposeful life. So if you enjoyed listening to the show, please show some support, give us a 5-star review, and leave a comment of your favorite part of the pod. Also, please share it to anyone that you know that feels stuck and that needs some uplifting or needs some help to get their finances in order. We're really just trying to help as many people as we can with these stories. God bless all of you, and yeah, just enjoy the show. Today we introduce Amber Medina Ramos. Amber is a local Hacienda Heights real estate agent and a bottle server at Exchange LA. Before becoming an agent, Amber earned her bachelor's degree in human resources from Cal Poly Pomona and MBA in marketing from UC Riverside. In this episode, we explore Amber's perspective on the education system, mental health, and entrepreneurship. But without further ado, let's dive right in.
Yay.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Amber, for coming on today. Welcome to the More Than the Numbers podcast show here. Oh, man, I don't appreciate the long drive that you had on the way here.
As a fellow Hacienda Heights person, you know the drive, so it's fine.
I know I was running late, so it was, dude, super gracious, and that you, made it all the way out here. But tradition for you, right, before you start working, before things start popping off,
yes.
Tell me what your tradition is here, Amber.
All right, so as you guys heard in the intro, I am a realtor by day, but also a professional bottle popper by night, bottle server. We're not allowed to drink at the job because we will get fired. And we want to go ahead and add the vibes. So we do Red Bull shots instead of alcohol shots. So I thought it would be pretty cool for Kenny and I to do some shots of Red Bull.
It's also 7 p.m., guys, so I don't know how this thing's going to go, how the sleep's going to look tonight, but dude, we're just gonna have to find out.
We're gonna roll with it. Hey man, what if we should get Red Bull to sponsor this video? Honestly.
I know, right? All right, what are you cheersing to?
Let's cheers to. First of all, thank you for. This is my first podcast. I'm really excited. This is really cool. You should add claps in the back.
Oh, I know, yeah. Make sure Moon get that in there, and the editing in the back.
So here's to my first podcast, and here's to you starting a podcast.
Yeah, yes. Let's do it.
All right.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Oh, my God, dude.
Oh, my God, it burns. No, I'm just kidding.
That had Ciroc in there.
Imagine. It's actually a really good flavor. So I got the watermelon.
I know, no. Oh, my, yeah, this thing is
tasty,
actually
right?
bomb.
It's tasty.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, so I want to start off first. You talked about being a bottle server, also being a real estate agent. We kind of talked about it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of want people to know what a day-to-day looks like. So I know today you were just coming over from La Puente, and I'm sure driving around is a normal thing that you're always doing. So yeah, just give a little bit of a breakdown, what a normal maybe Monday, Tuesday looks like for you.
Okay. So I wake up usually around 7:30 and actually get out of my house by 8ish, sometimes 8:30. I go to the gym. I get in a quick little cardio workout, and then I go ahead and start prospecting when I get home / eat my breakfast because I like to do fasted cardio.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yes. And then I will kind of proceed to do admin things, going through my emails, checking in with my clients, responding to anything. Let's say I have an escrow. I'll go ahead and follow up with them. I like to send them reminders of hey, this deadline is coming up, or just so you know, we're on the right path. We're good to go. So I'll kind of do that. And then I will hang out with my husband for a little bit because, gotta get the love in. And I kind of also will talk with him. We'll start thinking okay, this week we want to go to some properties and shoot some content. We'll kind of look on the MLS. which is a platform where me as an agent, I get to see every single home that's listed. So we'll look on and see which properties we kind of like that are aesthetic.
Yeah, start planning, getting the ideas flowing for the week.
Exactly. So me and him will kind of have like a little mastermind. And then if I do have appointments, that's when usually in the afternoon, I'll go ahead and show some properties to my clients. And after that, I mean, I'll have dinner. I'll just relax with my cat and still continue to work in the nighttime because my job is not normal. It's kind of whenever my clients reach out to me, or let's say someone messages me on Instagram, or I want to post content in the nighttime instead, I'll edit my videos, things like that. So that's kind of my day. It's really cool. Obviously, that's just a brief.
Oh yeah.
You know,
that's like an average,
like
right?
An average.
There's days where I'm sure you're working super crazy. Other days where it's like you're kind of chilling.
A little more relaxed, yeah. But that's overall kind of what I do.
That's cool. And one part that I really like about that too is that your husband, his name's Ian, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That he's involved in kind of the planning for that. Yeah. So what do you think he helps you with like in the home? So you told me has his photography and video business, right?
My husband at Ian Son is a professional photographer and videographer. So he does all my content. Everything you see on my Instagram, it's all my husband.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's super talented. He just is a natural. Like, he just has an eye for aesthetic of like homes specific. That's what he specializes in real estate photography and videography, because he just gets so inspired. He loves seeing, he'll be in the corner and be like, yeah, like walk this way. And I'm like, all right, for sure. Like,
and that's not easy that like someone to naturally just have the eye for that.
Yeah.
Cause like, again, like you can see people, like you see these posts on social media or videos and like you think how they look really cool, and they look very low effort from the consumer standpoint.
No,
but like everything is very calculated.
Yes.
You could tell with his, cause he has a very distinct aesthetic that's like clean cut.
Yeah. That's what he prides himself in. He likes to get to the point, show the consumer, like as soon as you look at the video, your eye is caught. You already know what you're going to get. And
that must make things pretty easy for you, because I know being an agent is kind of, and it's basically your own business. Mm-hmm. So it's just one thing less that you have to worry about with, do I have to find someone to film? Yes, and like now you can just really focus on the content, trying to find, your leads, things like that. Mm-hmm. So, wow. No, that's good to hear. So both of you guys working together with that. Where would you say that majority that you find your leads from for your real estate job?
So I have such a large network. I am an extreme extrovert. And honestly, throughout my life, I've had so many different opportunities with school, extracurricular activities that I was involved in school. I did sports. I was in ASB. All these different kind of things that
like avenues
that I've done. I made sure that I stay in contact with these people. And real estate, it then became, once I started, they were like, hey, go in your phone book and see how many people do you actually know. Like, that's like the number one thing they say. You have to prospect, but first start with, it's called your sphere of influence. Yeah. So I realized I had such a large sphere of influence because I'm just a people person. Like, I love people. I love to, connect with everybody. And then I realized, dang, I know a lot of people, and honestly, that's pretty much where all my business has came from, except I did go door knocking around my parents' neighborhood. And I got a really big fish. And he's so cool. I love him. He's Snoop Dogg's manager. So he's like my number one client. I love him. He's gotten 4 properties off of me.
No way.
Yeah, he's gotten 4 properties off of me, and he's an investor. And he's my neighbor. I ended up putting my, flyer on the door, and I got a call. He's like, hey, I'm looking for a house. And I'm like, I can't help you with that, And he's like, all right. So then he ended up buying 4 houses. And he's actually in the process of getting another one. He does Airbnb.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, it's not because it's the people that have, you know, that's a perfect one because they have the mindset already that they want to continue to purchase real estate. And I think there's a real difference between like someone that hasn't gone into it versus like a seasoned investor or someone that knows about real estate. I think that makes it a little bit easier on the client.
Yeah.
Like on the client experience side.
Well, actually, no. I taught him everything. Like,
oh, you did?
Yes. Like I taught him everything.
Whoa.
He came to me because he was like, hey, I want to buy, but how do I do that? So he actually rents his home. He doesn't, he hadn't owned, he rents.
That's super interesting.
Yeah. And so we kind of did these different loan options. My loan officer, Nastasha, she's awesome. Want to tag her too.
Yeah, definitely.
She has a lot of different programs, and one of the programs she had for him were because his credit was, you know, everybody has different.
They have different starting points.
Different starting points. So for him, one of the main things, it was the credit. So we had to find the perfect loan option that was going to be best for him and was going to make the most financial sense.
Yeah.
You know. So she helped him kind of figure that out, and then we kind of sat down, we went over the numbers, we picked the right area. The first one he got was a condo out in Whittier, and then the other ones are in Long Beach. The other two are in Long Beach, has two in Long Beach, and then another one in, East LA. Yeah, so
what do you think about it? Like, what do you think... Like, why would he want to start now? How come he hadn't already done it? Is it just that he didn't know the process, or like?
Well, he's a very successful man, and he, you know, is Snoop Dogg's manager.
Yeah.
And he runs all these like music festivals. So he does like hip hop concerts, everything. So he basically all his life has been building that empire. And now that he has the financial means to do that, he was like, bro, I got to start investing in real estate.
Yeah.
And he had the means to do so. And I mean, he bought them back to back to back to back.
Wow.
And two of them, he bought all cash.
Dang. So that just goes to show you, right? Like, sometimes you just need, convenience is a big thing. Like, you just happen to be at the right place at the right time to the right person. And like, that's, I feel like, because I know, you know, if you're out there and you have your own business or you're an agent or a loan officer, it gets very scary at times to go door knocking. I'm sure that's not super easy, or cold calling people. Yeah, but sometimes you never know what you're going to get. Yeah. And you can even, did you imagine that you're going to get a freaking big fish like that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think that, honestly, for me, that was so early in my career. This is, I've been in real estate this is the very beginning of my third year. So the first 2 years, he was like one of the first clients that I had gotten. And it was so inspiring. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. You know, it was the momentum that I needed to propel me. And now that's what I specialize in. I specialize in investors. So I work with investors and first-time home buyers.
I love that.
So that's my niche. Because I feel like with real estate, you kind of need a niche. And those are the two avenues that I've chosen because to me, it's so fascinating. I love the opportunity that real estate brings with investing. You know, not only the initial investment that you can get off like Airbnb and whatever, but the longevity, the generational wealth that it brings. You know, like, I come from a Latinx, you know, family, and I'm Cuban, and that's one thing my dad, he's like, us Cubans, like, we're hard workers, you know, we're grinders, you got to go ahead and just go out there and get it. And so it's so inspiring to see people being able to buy homes and it be such a long asset for like generations to go.
Right. That's awesome. I think that's such a good perspective that's not really, I feel like now it's becoming more popular amongst our Hispanic, you know, community members, but like I feel like they're such hard workers, but then they forget to, you know, they don't think past that in terms of investing, and they put all of their work into like the thing that's in front of them when it's like, yes, generational wealth, like, but going back to it, like, because we don't have that education, you know, going in high school and sometimes even in college too, you don't learn about this stuff. So no, I think that's an amazing thing, and that your real estate job is much more than just the house, right? It's like the meaning that comes behind it actually help, especially the first. Talk about that. Have you ever had a good experience with someone first time buying their house? Like, how was that?
Yes, I have. have. So actually, one of my favorite experiences was more recent. I helped a family. It was a referral, and they like reached out to me. They're like, "Hey, so and so referred me." I was like, "Low-key, I don't know who that is, but thank you," because I put my cards everywhere. So I think people like just take my card and then they see it, or like, you know, things like that. So apparently someone referred me, and I was super humbled and grateful that even someone recommended me, you know, because that's a compliment in itself.
Oh,
to
yeah,
have someone,
definitely.
Even if maybe they haven't even worked with you, just to see maybe your content or anything. They're like, yo, I see this person, they look legit, maybe hit them up, right? So they hit me up, they said, hey, you know, we're looking to buy in Fontana area, and they had 2 kids. It was going to be their first time. They were Mexican American, and it was just, when we closed escrow, like I literally cried because they brought their whole, like the whole familia came.
Oh man.
It's on my social.
Yeah.
It like actually is my best TikTok, or like best video on my Instagram. I think because it's so wholesome, like it's so tear jolting, because they, like, the family got out of the car. I had like the sign for them. I had got them the husband, he liked Jack Daniels, so I got him like a fat bottle of Jack Daniels. I had on the counter for him. I had to get it for him. And they just looked so, like, you could see, like, we made it, like we did it.
You can see the years, right? You can feel like the generations of like what it takes to get this thing, right? Like
American dream. The American, like, it's, it honestly, I'm a very sensitive person, so.
Oh, you were just.
I was like.
Real estate agent Amber's hat was off, bro.
I was like, no, like, this is so wholesome. Like, even my husband was like, dude, Loki, that was touching. Like, yeah, he's like, I felt that. You know, especially, like, again, the Hispanic culture. Like, I think that's why it was one of my favorite moments, because it was so beautiful to help, like, a fellow, you know, Hispanic family accomplish such a big dream, you know. So that's why I like to work with first-time homebuyers, for that feeling too. It's such an accomplishment. It really makes me feel really like I'm making a difference.
Oh yeah, that's so fulfilling.
And that is really fulfilling for me. I really enjoy helping people, and
and just like a wedding, or, you know, their son graduating college, like buying their house is a milestone that they're never gonna forget. And I'm sure that's like such an accomplishment, emotional thing that they're gonna hit you up on the next ones like that, or their kids or whatever. It's just like, and that's what's so good about it, when you do a good job, and that, you know, that they just feel like, I want all my friends to work with Amber, right? But first thing I want to say that I admire about you a lot is your ability to put yourself out there with the social media. You're doing the door knocking. Like, speak on the importance of that, and speak on, like, if you have any of, like, insecurities about, you know, putting yourself out there.
Honestly, I don't really have that many insecurities. Like, I'm an extrovert, so I actually really, like, get energy from other people. So I really enjoy it. Like, it makes me feel like fire inside.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, like, let me go put myself out there.
Yeah.
But the only, I would say, insecurity I feel is, of course, with being a female. That's the only kind of downfall of, like, safety. And that's where.
And that sucks too, because you can't just be yourself.
Yeah, it is.
Well, go into that of, like, tell me that experience, because not many people know. I'm sure there's a lot of other agents out there, or other women who are professionals that experience the same thing. So go in on this. I want to hear it.
I will speak for the women. Honestly, just respect your professional women, please. We are trying to do our job, and you know, you can compliment us on our profession and not on the fact that we're a female. That's pretty much, like, the only issue I've seen in my career, and it really is, it's a little cringy sometimes to see, like, how people try to interact with me and my fellow, you know, female coworkers. And sometimes it is to a point where, you know, I've had to cut out clients before because it's gotten disrespectful. It's gotten to a point where they think that they can speak to women a certain way, that they can treat women a certain way, and that we're just going to accept it because, oh, but don't you want to make the sale? You know, like...
Yeah. It's just the weird power thing
and
that they try.
I don't...
weird, bro.
Can I curse on here?
Yeah.
I don't fuck with that. Period. I don't. I have 2 degrees. I am not just a face, you know. I have a brain, and I take my profession very seriously. And so that's something that I pride myself in a lot. And I think that that's the only thing.
How do you handle it in person, right? Like when that situation comes up and they say like some like out of pocket stuff, like how do you deal with that? I know because my fiance talks about this too in her job too, just like creepy guys just say unwarranted things, and like how do you what goes through your head, and like how do you navigate it, and what kind of advice would you give other women that have to deal with that too?
So for me, this is what I mean. Thank God I'm married. That is honestly the best thing for me. Like anytime someone wants to act out of pocket, I shut them down real quick. I literally had to I had to put my husband in my bio, wifey to Ian, so that off the bat people know, oh, like she's married. And it's so sad that we live in a society like that. Like, and that's the truth that women have to go through. That you literally have to like brand yourself as like a taken person so that people don't get any ideas. It's real sad. And so for me, I think that is what, I just politely say, oh no, thank you. Like, I don't think my husband would be too comfortable with that. Like, I just throw the husband card, and they're like, oh, okay. Well, it's just as friends, And I'm like, I don't know, no. Like, can we continue talking about like real estate now?
Why we're here?
Like what? So yes, but I would say honestly, just don't be afraid. I guess that's my number one advice. Don't be afraid. I think having confidence and not being afraid to speak up and respect yourself and know when someone's crossing that boundary, and not being afraid to set that boundary, especially from the beginning, because I think that's when some people like to test that boundary and see like, oh, let me see if I can get away.
Did they really mean it that way? And
oh, let's see if I say this and let's see what she says. Or like, oh, if I touch her a certain way. And I'm like, no. No, we're not doing that. So I would say setting that boundary. I don't want to go too much into that. That's like a whole other... I
know, but no, I just want to say...
I'm just really passionate about that as
well. Oh, yeah, of course. Like, and I know, and I think a lot of people can benefit from it, just because I know I've worked also as a server. I've had coworkers at, plenty of my other jobs, and it's always been a thing of trying to work and dealing with this garbage type stuff. So, and I know you probably have... lots of experiences with it in your bottle service.
Oh, the bottle service, that's a whole other... That is very... That's different.
But I just want to salute all women out there, and especially you too, for just... Because it's another game that you have to play in addition to... It's already hard enough to work. Yes. So, well, thank you for...
I have mad respect for all women in real estate, because really the amount that you have to put yourself out there, and that is an insecurity of putting yourself out there and being afraid of how people are going to perceive you, and then it is like a little traumatizing sometimes.
No, it definitely is.
Do some out-of-pocket things. So ladies, just keep strong. And yes.
I think as we continue to have these conversations and progress, hopefully it'll get a little bit better, where the day where you don't have to put in a specific bio just to play defense, and you could just be yourself. But yeah, hopefully this podcast makes a difference in that pursuit.
So. I honestly, this is awesome. Thank you for allowing me to speak my truth.
Oh yeah, I have to. This is where you can do it.
Share that, because I think it is really important. I do think I don't really hear this in my profession. It's very much like hush. Transactional, like, oh, okay, but this is the reality. A lot of us do go through that.
No,
so
yeah.
Something to talk about.
Yeah. And okay, so next thing I want to talk about is like so right now you're full on kind of entrepreneur with your real estate job. And then you were kind of talking about how you put yourself out there with your bottle service job too, is kind of in reference to getting more, building more connections, right? But you're well educated. Like you didn't have to go through this entrepreneurial thing. Like you could choose an easier type of thing and go, corporate, because you graduated from Cal State or Cal Poly Pomona. You got your graduate degree. So did you have any kind of experience working in a corporate, like 9-to-5 style of job? And tell me why you chose to do an entrepreneurship type position,
Yeah. So when I graduated with my MBA, I actually immediately started applying to like marketing positions. I interned for Insomniac, which is the company that co-owns the nightclubs that I work at. And I love Insomniac. They're a great company. That's kind of like the closest 9-to-5 kind of job I worked for during the internship.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in their headquarters in Beverly Hills. Super cool. I was doing the customer like experience. I was replying to, people, hey, I lost my ID. Like, where can I pick it up? Like, super small inquiries like that. But it was really cool. And I'm like, okay, cool. I could do this. Like, as long as it's an industry that I enjoy, I don't mind doing the corporate route.
Yeah.
But then it got to, I saw the pay that I was going to be getting. And, they really hyped all of us up in our master's program. Like, you're going to make like 6 figures, like, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
No, that was not the case.
What, can you say how much it was, that first job?
Dude, it was a real humbling. I was real humbled. Like, I started applying and I remember, okay, so also I have to disclaim that granted, I have been an entrepreneur literally my whole life and only had like part-time jobs. And I went from my high school straight into my undergraduate, I graduated with my MBA at 23 years old.
Oh, wow. So
I had my master's by 23.
gaps.
No gaps. So that's why at the same time, I didn't get experience according to them.
Interesting.
Which is very interesting because how do you want me to have an MBA and 3 to 5 years experience as well? Like, I'm gonna be, what? Like, it didn't make sense to me. And I'm like, okay then. And then people who didn't decide to get their master's and then went ahead and got experience, they ended up getting
further ahead
more. So I was so confused on, I kind of felt like I got like scammed right by the system. Like, dang, I just spent 2 years, and granted, it's not for nothing. I know it's never for nothing. Thank God I went to school for free because my father was a Marine and I got his GI Bill.
Oh, nice.
So that's also a reason why I ended up going.
Hey, make use.
To utilize that. But they were only willing to pay me probably like, at the time, what was it, 2019 when I graduated, like $40,000.
Oh my gosh. That's kind of disrespectful.
That's
like,
so disrespectful. When it was like 40, they were like 40, 45 starting, and then you could move up. And I'm like, dude, I literally make that as a server. Like, what? Like, what? How is that a salary?
Yeah.
Like, for a master's program, that was my whole thing. I'm like, I have a master's degree. And honestly, it just really motivated me because that's what I love about entrepreneurship is the sky's the limit. It's limitless. That's what I love. My parents are entrepreneurs. I've been super blessed to have a very fruitful life growing up. They've always taught me stay humble though. You have to just work hard to make sure that, of course, you get to where you are, but you do it ethically and always like, you can't expect that you always know everything. You know what I mean? You have to be hungry to continue to learn, right? But I felt like I was going to be put in a box by accepting that and not like knowing my worth. So I don't know. I don't even know what it was. One day I was like, I'm going to get my real estate license. Like, fuck it. Just gonna do that. And then I was still doing bottle service.
Yeah.
That was what, I kind of kept doing that. And
so that was like the kind of the point then, right? When you first saw how much you were getting paid, you were thinking about like, you put in all this schooling,
this work.
And then also the time restriction too of like you have to work during these hours. So it's just maybe that accumulation of it was like.
It was honestly like heartbreaking. And I had my my cohort. I mean, you're talking my cohort. They are $100,000 in debt. Like literally to get from your bachelor's to undergraduate, I have multiple friends who owe over $100,000 in student loans. And you're telling me that I'm supposed to get, not like, let's say I had that. I'm supposed to have all this money in student loans and then you want to pay me under $50,000? Like, make it make sense. Like, so that's my opinion.
No. That's exactly why I'm kind of starting this podcast too, is because as an 18-year-old or whenever you're going to school, you don't get this info and they don't tell you that how much you're going to be making from the salary. So like, what kind of advice would you give like your former self or maybe some 18-year-old when choosing to go into your undergraduate degree or even pursuing a master's?
Honestly, unpopular opinion. Oh, some people are going to be like,
yeah, dude, here's your hot take. We're going to clip this one. No.
Unpopular opinion, you don't need college. I said it, you don't need it. Like, honestly, that's my opinion from my experience. That's coming from someone who has a master's degree. To be honest, I feel like if you're hungry and you have grit and discipline, you don't need college to teach you that. You don't. You need life experience. I really, truly wish that I would have started my real estate career right out the gate. I can't imagine where I would be right now if I had done that. Granted, maybe I wouldn't have the sphere of influence and the network that I have from going to school, meeting all these people. That's the only difference, right? I feel like, it was an opportunity to really build these networks, especially I was in business. That's what you have alumni, all these things after. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm like, go Broncos, go Cal Poly, go UCR. Like, I'm for it, right? I do appreciate it, but really, if I looked back, did I need it? Probably not. Like, unpopular opinion.
No, I agree with you because I think schooling is good. It's just, why are we gonna have to pay that price tag for that much, and the years that we have to put into that? Yes. And then for the fact of like, it feels kind of like a scam or kind of a manipulation, because why isn't there at least a couple classes that they force you to do the right internships or choose the career that you want? Because I just feel like it's such a common thing. Like for myself, I had the same kind of experience too coming out of college of like depression of like, what do you want to do? Like, like no one tells you any of that. And I feel like there's so many people out there, like you just told me, the 100,000 student loans. Dude,
it's devastating. It really is. Honestly, I truly believe, and this is why I guess it's unpopular opinion, because I think that there's still so many generations that believe otherwise, but I really think that the school system is obsolete to our generation and the upcoming generations.
Oh yeah, especially the next ones.
It needs to be restructured. I think there should be more trade schools. People out of high school should have the opportunity to like kind of do more actual, what am I going to do with life? Not just, I think what school teaches you is how to follow directions. And it's only actually as good as what you make it, right? Like you can literally go to school. That's why you hear so many like famous, speakers, entrepreneurs say that college, what's the saying? Like you could be, smart and go to college but still walk out dumb, or like something like that. Like basically
Yeah.
you don't have to be smart to go to college. And I'm like, that's so sad. Like, you really could just go in, turn in your homework, do whatever, fly by the radar, and you say, okay, I got my degree. And you're like, all right, world, I'm ready. And then the world is like, okay, pay your taxes, you gotta pay your rent. All these things start coming up. You're like, whoa, school didn't get me ready for that. I have had so many friends come to me and I've helped them fix their credit. And literally because, well, unfortunately, like, again, the generation, like, the families don't teach them that. And then school doesn't teach them.
Yeah, they have degrees, right? I'm sure they have college degrees and they still don't know.
That blows my mind. That was the number one thing that blew my mind getting into this career, was to see how, I bet you can attest, to see people's credit scores that, and it's not even their fault.
No.
Oh my God, it's not their fault. Genuinely, and they fix it right away. Like, it's like knowledge is power, you know? But again, why
Yeah,
are
and
we
especially
learning
with something with
knowledge
credit where history is a big thing. So it's like, if you don't start on it earlier, it takes a little
Yes.
bit longer to get your footing with it.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. So you're telling me I spent 4 years in college, but no one taught me how to establish my credit.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's a business degree too, right? Or what degree did you end up getting?
You know, I'm trying to think if they did teach me that, but
Not applicable
Not
though.
like applicable.
We're learning the theories of
yes,
of
okay,
credit
I was gonna
scores,
say,
right?
Yeah.
There's no like actual thing like, okay, go to Experian, go to TransUnion, go here. This is how you clean it up. Like how easy would it have been, right? How they taught
To have a whole class on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then now it just makes me think and question a lot of the things like in society of like they do it on purpose. I don't know, because there's a lot of successful businesses that thrive off of the debt, you know, and
Popular opinion, 100% is done on purpose. Like, I mean, you know, I could talk about that all day. Really, I feel like I feel like I'm one of those, like, stay woke, like, you know, like, but not really.
like
you
Matrix
know,
and stuff.
like,
Yeah, no, I feel
I mean,
that.
not to that extreme, but like, you know, it's just more of there's certain things that you have to be aware of in society, and I think going back to your point, that is something I wish people could explain of like college and school. If you genuinely are not passionate about going to school, don't just do it because you think that's what society wants you to do. Like, oh, I need to get a degree to be successful. A degree does not equal to sex.
I know, right?
Cut
Maybe
that out.
maybe it does. I don't know.
yo. Maybe it does. I mean, dang. No, call it a degree does not equal success. What equals success is how you execute that degree and what you do with your life experience, and it's just all from within. A piece of paper does not define you. It is what you do with that. So that's why I think, again, if you feel like you can still execute the life you want without forcing yourself to put yourself in debt and do all these things, the power to you. That would be my advice.
No, that's good. That's really good. So I think pretty much what you're saying is like find what I think that our every year is valuable, right? So like at 18, maybe double down on really exploring yourself and your interests and to see what you want to do. Then go all in on that, because sometimes they have to go to school, right? For
Correct.
You know.
But then if let's say there's so many people who drop out because they're like, dude, I don't want to do this, and they feel they get like shamed by their family.
That's the one, the family.
And that's so sad. And it's like you hear so many successful entrepreneurs who literally like, dude, I dropped out of college. I didn't go to college. And they're like millionaires.
Yeah.
It's like the proof in the pudding. Like, it's all about what you do. The fire that you have inside, what you decide to do with your life, that is going to make you successful, not your degree.
No, yeah.
It could help 100% if you know how to use it correctly, but I don't think you need it.
No, I think it's amazing.
That's my take.
Amazing advice. And I think even for the people who, feel that shame or guilt that you have to go to school because of family or friends, or maybe still pursue their thing on the side, right? Like you could have maybe take less classes or something, and then also just start up your real estate job.
Oh,
like there's different ways
literally had 2 jobs in college.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had my own business. I started my own jewelry company while I was in college. That was like my first little side business. It was called Meow & Co. I loved it. And it taught me a lot. It was really cool.
Yeah, speak on that. Like, what did you learn? That was your first ever?
That was my first business, yeah.
How was that? Did it end up going well?
It did go well. It did. It was, like a local thing. Chokers were like really in at the time.
Yeah.
So I had made chokers and I hand sewed them. I got all the material from the fashion district in downtown LA.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started getting all my friends to model them. I would take pictures of them. I made a website. I put it on, it was called Shop Envy, like kind of like an Etsy. And it was really dope. It was super cool. And I think that is also what motivated me to get my master's degree in marketing, because I got my undergraduate in human resources because I thought that's kind of, I was like, okay, let me get a corporate job in HR. I, again, love people.
Yeah.
I thought that would be cool. And then I kind of decided, let me get my master's degree. I actually and this is why I'm like, it's so I actually genuinely loved school. I really did. And that is the only reason why I continued school. But it wasn't until I got to my master's program that I got the reality check.
Oh, man.
I got the reality check. And, also unpopular opinion, I think Cal States are better than universities. Because
that's right. You did both, so you have experience with both of them.
So my undergraduate is at Cal Poly Pomona, and my master's is at University of Riverside. And I saw the huge difference in the attention I received. And I think I had such a strong and amazing experience at Cal Poly, and then to go to UCR, and I just felt like a number there.
What do you think it was? Like, what was it the classroom style, or why?
And it's so hard. Like, honestly, I loved UCR, I really do. I loved my alumni, the people that I went to school with, amazing, very intelligent people, the professors, very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that the applicability was surprisingly less than at Cal Poly. And I think that it was interesting to see also the professors were a lot younger at Cal Poly, and they were a lot more, hey, this is what's happening in the work field. And they were teaching you like the business side of that. And at UCR, I felt it was more, and I hear that. I've talked to other people who've gone to universities, and I remember one time I had an exam, and it was, oh my God, it was so traumatic. Like, literally, there was multiple people who came out crying because it was so hard. Like, we had studied so much for this exam, and then we went on the exam. I literally thought, I was like, am I in the wrong class? Like, it was crazy. And I was like looking around, and everyone was like pulling. I was like, yo, like, and these were like smart ass fucking people. I think it was like calculus, like business calc or whatever. It was so difficult. And all of us emailed the professor complaining. We were like, what the actual fuck? And he goes, oh, well, I'll just curve the grade.
It's such a low effort thing. Like, oh my God,
I was like, you telling me that I just went through all that for you to curve the grade? Because we all failed. Everyone failed. The entire class failed that exam.
I don't think that
that's fucked up, dude.
That is so no, that's so fucked up. And it's very lazy too on the professor's side of like, you just messed up on the whole test, like how to format it, like, and everything, and then you're just gonna like tie things up and take care of all that emotional damage, put a little band-aid on by curving the grade. I'm like, dude. God.
And that is just an example of what I experienced in my master's program. I feel like so many people can attest to the trauma that school puts on you, the late nights, and you're like, oh my God, just to pass, it's like so much pressure. And for what? Like for you to get a baseline, like, it's
40,000 out, dude. 7 years later, 100K.
Damn.
Yeah. No, I.
That is devastating, man. That to me is just, it's a scam, dude.
No, okay. Well, speak on a little bit about entrepreneurship and mental health. I'm interested to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah. So I really think that so many people view entrepreneurs as these, badass, disciplined type individuals, and then no one really sees the behind the scenes of, yes, we're not working a 9-to-5 job, and maybe we don't have those like normal stresses that when you go to your job, and of course, like, oh, my boss, like, he pissed me off today or whatever. Like, you don't necessarily have someone to create that stress for you, but on the flip side, you create your own stress. Like, you're your own worst critic. And I feel like that is where entrepreneurs struggle, because it's just you that you have to go against. And sometimes that's like really tough.
I feel like it's a cold and lonely road, right? Yeah. Like, there's days, like today I woke up too and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I want to like do this. Like, you sometimes think about that, but they're just thoughts that enter your head, and
yes, they're intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
I think that they are a different type of thoughts, and that's why you see so many people, like famous, successful people who, like, it's morbid to say, but like end up like killing themselves or like hurting themselves because people think, oh, they're successful. No one thinks to check in on those type of people. And I think that
that's a good point.
We need to get away from that viewpoint. And I really also think that it stems too from like a societal kind of like a jealousy, like almost like, oh, well, how can you be stressed? You make your own schedule. You get to do whatever you want. Like, how can you be stressed? You could take the day off whenever. And you're like, dude, you don't know my life. Like,
there's a price to pay for that flexibility. There's a price to pay for, having the ability to make that money, right? And then
dude, it's a big sacrifice.
Pressures too from family, friends. Like, if you don't, you gotta work, you gotta hunt and eat, and like, if you don't get anything from your business, like, dude, it's could be scary.
It's scary. It is. It's the uncertainty. Every single day I wake up, and I'm a very spiritual person, and I think that for me is what has helped my mental health, and just being really, some people maybe God or however, right? Like I feel like my God is a universal kind of being, and like I also believe that everybody has a God inside of them. Like, you are your own higher self. That's someone that you should listen to. Kind of, some people may call it like your gut instinct, right? Mm-hmm. I believe that's like your higher self guiding you to make the right decisions, help you kind of just navigate through your life, right? And I think with entrepreneurship, that gets lit up a little bit more because it's a pressure that you now are extra on yourself. And if you are not aligned, and if you don't practice kind of gratitude and really not being ashamed of, if you have mental health issues, to get resources and actually like handling that instead of maybe just shoving it down and not listening to those things, it can get bad. And I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I'm in therapy. It's awesome. You gotta go ahead and get uncomfortable to be comfortable, period. You need to really ask yourself those hard questions and say, why do I do the things that I do? Why do the things that other people do affect me? It's a huge thing that as an adult, I started realizing things would bug me that people would do, and I'd be like, that's fucking stupid.
What's one thing that you like learned from that or recognize? Like, what's the one trait that like kind of irks you and that you're like trying to work on?
Okay, so I would say I am like because I'm very extroverted, right? I'm a pretty needy person. Like, not as much anymore. Because I want to say needy in a sense of like with my friends and family, right? Like I want to hang out. Like that's my love language. Like
okay.
I want to hang out with people, want to talk to them and things like that. And then I would start getting so offended if people wouldn't reciprocate that to me. And I'd be like, oh, like they're mean or whatever. And then, at a certain point, as you get older, you have to kind of check yourself a little bit. And you got to take accountability. Like, okay, maybe it's not that person that is trying to hurt me or whatever, but why is it that I feel the need that I need to hang out with people? And then I went deeper of like, well, my childhood, like,
That's crazy where it leads to, huh?
It leads
oh my
to that,
gosh.
And then I started working on that. And now I'm like, if anything, I'm like, don't hit me up. Like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm like, I don't want to hang out. I'm good with myself and my cat. No, I'm just kidding. I still have a lot of beautiful friends and I still love hanging out with people. But again, that's just an example of a huge, I feel like so many people go through their life, they blame other people for their traumas and they think, why me, poor me? When to an extent, yes, like that's the things that happen to you, that doesn't invalidate those things. Like never invalidate the hardships, but at a certain point, you have to grab your life by the balls and you have to be that change. It's just like those people who, for example, came from maybe not the best upbringing and then now they're millionaire successful. Why? Because they didn't allow their traumas to go ahead and define them. They, at one point, they decided, I'm gonna take accountability for my life and I'm going to work on myself and start asking myself these questions. Why do I act this way? You know what I mean? And so, I don't know why I pointed to that, but...
No, I think that's so important, like just taking the first step of like being aware, right? Of
Yes.
what is irking you or what... Because I find myself too, exactly, I think I have the same thing like that you go through about that. Like when I have a free day, I automatically just go to friends or family. I call them right away because like I'm like, I guess like an internal thing of like, I don't want to be alone today when I probably should relax and reflect and like, but no, right away you just go right away to either social media or like I want to keep my mental stimulated. So I think that's an amazing point. Just like be aware and then get the help, even if I think maybe if you don't even think you need it, right? There's probably some things that you can always.
Dude, there is always something that you can improve on. This life is constant growth, and that's one thing I'm so glad my parents taught me. Like, always stay humble. And when you think you know everything, you don't. You will never know everything. There's always opportunity to learn something. And just be a sponge and just like be open to, hearing other people's opinions, because that's what influences you to think, oh, maybe I didn't think about it that way. And I think that's what kind of therapy does, helps you with mental health, because maybe for so long you thought about something a certain way and then you get a new perspective and then you're like, damn it, be yourself.
And sometimes, isn't it crazy? I think that just one of these new perspectives or one of these things kind of like can really just propel you to the next thing, and like you just have this new maybe sense of confidence or something about that, or just from one little change or one little awareness thing. So, I think that's such a good thing that you're bringing that up and that we're talking about it too. Another topic that nobody talks about.
Yes.
This is why we're doing it.
I guess this podcast, talking
dude,
about all these things.
You're good.
So.
You're throwing these gems out. Okay,
Yes.
But one thing I am very curious and I want to know about, just because I've only been a consumer of this, not too often. I would like to go see some more events, but in the club atmosphere. So you're a bottle server at Exchange LA, which is a pretty prominent club in LA. If you guys know about it.
Yes.
Lots of big DJs, right? Like Tiesto, you said,
Tiesto,
YG.
Well, I don't know. We're an EDM club. I went to the YG concert on Thursday. Oh, she was lit. But
Okay.
No, we do EDM DJs. Yes.
So speak on that experience. Like, what led you to going into that, and how do you like working it?
I love it. Bottle service has allowed me to be an entrepreneur, to create this lifestyle where I am a realtor by day, bottle server by night. I truly just enjoy my job. I think it's so cool that these people are so well off in their lives that they can, I mean, the people I meet, they don't even flinch. Like, I had a client the other day that I upsold him on a $7,000 3-liter bottle of champagne. Like, I was like, oh, do you want to get this? And he's like, yeah. And he just bought it. Like, nothing. It's so inspiring. I'm like, yo, I want to just be like, yeah. $7,000? Fuck it. Like, what? Like, that's just blows my...
Split second. No checking the phone. No asking nobody.
No.
Yeah.
Just sure.
That's crazy.
And then proceeded to buy another bottle. So his bill ended up being, like, after taxes and everything, like $20,000. He dropped in a matter of hours. And it did not bother him. He did not flinch. And this is the clientele, like, not always big like that, right? But I'm just saying, like, this is like a handful of the clientele that I have at the club. And I think it's really inspiring to be surrounded around those types of people and know that it's possible. Kind of going back to entrepreneurship. I feel like my job also, even though I am an employee, it's kind of like when I'm a server and when I go into my shift, dude, I'd be like, yo, today I'm gonna like kill it. Like, I'd be having that mentality. And all my coworkers too. We all pull tips, and I love that. I think that is the best way because everyone's a team. And all of us, we go in like hungry, like, yo, we're about to sell, we're about to make money for each other. And it's kind of like you're in your own lane because you have your own tables / a team player. But yeah, it's, you know, you're doing your own thing, and the reward is the paycheck afterwards, you know? And I also really love it because I get to network as well. At the end of it, if they love my service, I'm like, by the way, I sell real estate. So if you need a real estate agent. And then...
What's their reaction to that when you say that?
Oh, they love it. They're like, yeah, that's sick. They're all drunk, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Like, and they're like, you got an Instagram? I'm like, yeah, you can follow me. And I'm like, request me as your server next time, you know, if you want to come back. So it's really cool. Honestly, it's a fun job. It's a fun job. I don't have kids right now, and I'm young, and why not? That's how I think about it. Why not?
And I think it's a cool outlet too, because I mean, if you're when you're as a real estate agent, you're kind of on your own for a little bit. I mean, I'm not sure if your situation is where you have a team like that, but it's just something different about having like a squad, like you're saying, pumping each other up at work.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's actually my favorite part is the contrast between I actually am working on a team, but also everybody is like on their own solo mission to help the team. Like, that's what I mean. Like, you go in and you want to kill it, but not only for yourself, but for your fellow, like, you know, coworkers. Because if you kill it, that's a win for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, and we all celebrate. We all encourage each other. Like, that night that everyone was like, yeah, like, that's what's up.
Dude, yeah, 7,000. I'm sure when you get right when he did it, I bet you're like, I'm gonna go tell the girls this.
Dude,
like,
it was so cool. So I don't know, and also I mean, dude, we're selling bottles at that. Like,
it's a ridiculous concept, right?
Dude, like, it's like, but this is the other thing too that I love about it on another level. After this, I'll be done with this section.
No, go ahead.
I love the communal aspect of when these people go to get bottle service. It's to forget about their fucking lives.
Yeah, that's
like,
what it is. Yep.
I think that is such a amazing business to be able to provide this service regardless of the price tag, where these people, for whatever X amount of time, nothing else matters. The pure joy that I see on my customer's face when we do our shows for them, we make it go all out, everything. They're like, this is so fucking awesome, like, you know, and they remember that, and they're like, it's worth it to them, you know, because maybe they had a bad week or a bad whatever, and then this was the moment they could just unwind and not care. And the fact that I can facilitate that, I love that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. Yeah, because I mean, just I'm sure sometimes they come with their teams if they're in business, and it's like something they're looking forward to going to, and
it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it, and I also one day the reason why I interned for Insomniac is I would love to open my own lounge, not a nightclub, because I want more of a kind of just nightlife, kind of bougie lounge vibe. You know, where
interesting. Yeah.
So
what yeah, like what kind of like what's the style there? Like or what kind of music do you see playing? Is it gonna be DJs or is it just gonna be a low key? Like
no, I want it to be just like a lounge. So no necessarily DJs or anything like that. More of maybe just appetizers, kind of like a bar, but again, upscale, like a lounge, right? Where people can even rent out it to kind of just have parties or whatever, things like that. That's also kind of how my jobs tie together, like with real estate and with being in the entertainment industry. I also always look at real estate as, because I am in that field, I'm going to have a great opportunity down the line to see exactly where I want to put my lounge and get those connections of maybe finding investors or anything
commercial
like that.
Space.
Commercial spaces, things. And then all the networking and everything I've learned from being in the nightlife.
Hey, that's a good combination. That's advanced.
I've been thinking about these things.
No, that's very smart.
Yeah. So I, of course, once I get more experience and the capital to do that, that is something that's actually one of my biggest goals that I want to do. That's something that I've always wanted to do because my love language is acts of service, and that's something I've discovered about myself. I love doing things for people and creating spaces.
And what better way to do it? Yeah, creating an environment for people to have a good time, like curate the space and
That honestly hypes me up. That hypes me up to be able, if I were to be able to create a space where I could see people just unwinding, living their best life, taking their photos, looking all cute, like all in the aesthetic, you know, that's a vibe.
No, I see it. I saw it in your face when you came in and you saw the living room. You're just like, because that's the thing that you can see, you know, your the space and what the vibe.
I love bringing people together. I love that. And so I think that is why I love bottle service, because I see people have fun. I see them enjoy themselves. I'm helping to that. And then I love real estate because I am also bringing people together and helping them accomplish life goals or investment goals to be able to continue to.
I think that's amazing. You're literally living what your purpose and passion is, you know, and it's cool to see it. And that's kind of the part of the reason why I brought you on here, is because you have those perspectives and you're building towards a really grand big picture thing that I'm sure you're picking up a lot of lessons along the way from both of these things that that are all gonna make sense later on when you open up that lounge. But no, I'm excited. You gotta invite me when you get that
100%. You'll be at the grand opening for sure. Yes.
And as we're winding down, so I just want to have a couple questions just to hear your points of view on this. So what's your version of success?
So my version of success would be, honestly, just being happy in where I'm at in my life. Because I think that so many people think like money or status is success. But if you're not happy with the money and the status, then it really doesn't mean anything. So to me, if I can get to a place to where I'm genuinely happy with what I'm doing and obviously the financial reward that I get from what I'm doing, like, I don't need to be a freaking multimillionaire. That's in my opinion. I really, truly, I don't think that, of course I will be a millionaire. I don't need to be a multimillionaire, but I don't think I need all that Some people do, right? But again, if it makes you happy. So
yeah, that's why this is your version.
That's
of
my
success.
version. That's my version. And I think it comes from my parents. They're my biggest role models. They own their own business. For the past 15 years, they do termite pest control. And they live the most beautiful life. Like, they raised us with so much love, and they gave us anything and everything I could have asked for. And all while still making sure that they like taught us the right, like they were always, hey, we're going to give you this, but remember,
lots of lessons. Huh?
They're like, okay, we'll buy you a car, but you got to do X, Y, they would teach us things. And it wasn't just like, here you go. No, it wasn't like that. It was like, we're giving this to you because we worked hard. And we're doing this for you because we chose to bring you into this world, and we want to do this for you because we didn't have that. So now we're going to give this to you, but it doesn't mean that you get a free ride.
Yep.
Right? And so now my mom, they're in Thailand right now. They literally have been traveling the world. They live their best life. Like, so dope. And, they're like, they live a humble life. They make, decent money, and they just travel. It's just them two, that they don't have no employees. They ended up it was actually more costly for them to have employees. So it's just them two. My dad does all the hard labor. My mom does all the office work. And then they can afford to literally travel all over the place. Like, they have a world map. It's like almost filled. It's like insane. They just went rafting in Thailand. They're like in their late 50s. It's just crazy. It's so inspiring.
No, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. There's on so many levels. Like, first off, that they have a successful business that can actually earn them, a decent living, right? Mm-hmm. But then not only that, they have the freedom of the time to travel.
Yes. That's what I also think. Success is also being able to have your time, because I think that sometimes you're working so much. How can you enjoy your life? Like, I think that's also where my parents like, dude, I'm not going to work to the bone where I'm passing away and I'm not even enjoying my life. Like, no, I want to enjoy my life. So.
No,
yeah.
Good, great answer there. And then what kind of just advice in terms of career or finding yourself would you give to someone just graduating high school?
I would say that, let's see. So someone just graduating high school, right?
Yeah, say that they're like, oh, Amber, I see you killing it on your real estate. I see you got your degrees. I just graduated. What should I do? What advice would you tell them, or would you tell yourself, asking yourself that?
Honestly, I would say that the biggest thing would be invest in truly finding yourself and truly getting to know who you are, and not what other people expect you to be or what other people want you to be. Because I think that is such a huge thing that we get kind of overwhelmed by all the noise in the background at that prime teen age, where I'm an adult now, and then, but yet you still you're still figuring out, and you listen to everybody else's opinion instead of genuinely asking yourself, I gotta get to know myself, exploring that really just, and unapologetically too, because I really wish that I would have done that. I really wish that I wouldn't have, listened to everybody, because sometimes that's why, again, spiritual, listen to your higher self. Listen to yourself sometimes. Sometimes even when you're young, and hey, even if you mess up, you know what? I like to look at it you're training your gut. You're training your instinct to trust yourself. You should start that at a young age, just learning to just trust yourself. Even if you fail, continue to do that, and you're going to gain more confidence in yourself and trust yourself to make the right decisions further down in life.
Yeah, and I think that ties into being extroverted too, is because you want to be a good friend and be there for people, but then you forget to be quiet and introverted and learn about yourself. No, wow, you're saying a lot of stuff. I feel like I'm in therapy right now.
No.
That's good stuff.
Thank you.
No, and then just the last one. So what kind of impact or like legacy would you like to leave on the world?
Ooh.
This one's always a tough one that trips people up that no one really thinks about, but you know, I don't know. Let's see if you have a take on it.
Yeah. So honestly, I feel like no one remembers how much money you made or like what necessarily accomplishments you did. People remember how you made them feel. And I think that for me, I hope, right, my best friend, she likes to say that we're all energy, right? And currency doesn't just have to be money. It can be energy. Right now, we are exchanging energy, this conversation. And so I would hope that my energy that I'm exchanging to you is doing something for you.
Definitely.
And vice versa, it's doing something for me. So I think that's the legacy that more people should like think about leaving, is how their energy and how the way that you make
that's
people
such
feel.
a good sorry, continue.
So your currency is kind of like leaving memories.
Yes.
No, but that's
Like
a good I haven't thought of it like that, of like your interaction with somebody, how you left it, like not just about, oh, I gave you money or
No, dude,
I spent time with you, but like what kind of energy did you leave with that person? And oh my gosh, that's powerful.
So like impression, time, and memories. Like
It's
those,
an imprint, yeah.
Yeah, those are like your forms of currency.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
It's a beautiful thing, and that's why it's a very spiritual way of thinking. Like, we're all connected in this universe, and you know, not everything has to be so transactional, and we could really benefit from just like that saying, like living in the moment and really just being our true authentic self. That could, let's say like you're having a bad day, right? Or someone's having a bad day, and just by you like just sending them like light and energy, positivity, bro, you like turn their whole day around just off of the vibes that you give. That is so powerful. Like I feel like some people forget about that. So yeah, that would be my legacy.
No, that's an amazing answer, and you brought a lot of points that I hadn't thought about the entire thing, and I just want to thank you, Amber, for driving all the way through traffic.
It's okay.
You know, dealing with all these technical stuff and the hot and cold in here. You're still able to give some fire. I know a lot of people are going to get a lot of beneficial information and good vibes from this. So really appreciate you coming on, and yeah, maybe we'll return guests when you have your lounge. We'll have a grand opening podcast there.
We'll have a grand opening podcast. Yes.
I love to see our friends and people around us like doing well, because I feel like we will represent our area really well, and
100%.
yeah, everyone can make it in this world,
Absolutely.
man. So
yeah, no, same to you. Like I just want to first again say thank you for having me on, and I'm super like proud and impressed. Like this is such a beautiful home, and you did it, dude. Like you should be really proud of yourself, and
thank you
for representing the 626.
Oh yeah,
you know?
no, we have to. So
honestly, kudos to you as well.
cheers to that, dude.
Yes, cheers. Thank you for having me.